Happy November 1st. Standard time is upon us, so we'll be getting dark a little bit earlier than it has been as far as the race card goes. With Rodney Nelson, I'm Jim Byers. Thanks for joining us. We have 11 races to recap. Quick notes about next week. 6:35 start on Saturday for the regular race card that includes Texas Classic Derby trials, but then a week from tonight, early start, couple hours early because of 15 Texas Classic Futurity
15 trials tonight. It's going to be a fun one. They're all trying to qualify for that richest race in Texas, the Texas Classic Futurity. 4:35 start next Sunday, a week from today. So set those clocks back even earlier next week and catch us as we get going at 4:35. That's Central Time.
It'll be a long night of racing, but I've scanned the trials. They're very interesting. A lot of competitive horses, a few coming back from the summer, so it's going to be fun. Okay, on to tonight's activities. First race, Super High 5, as always, $804 in the carryover for race 1. I think this is a very tough race, and we're going to show video here in a moment. This is a $5,000 non-winners of 2 claimer. And, we're on the same horse. We could have shown.
Go ahead and roll that video
first?
Yeah, let's go ahead.
Let's show the video first. We're going to show Jessa Classy Pool, who is the 2-horse in this video. So let's advance to this. This is from October 3rd. This horse is the 2. Just eliminated at the start. Just bumped, broke it, knocked inward. Basically had no shot in this race. Now you see Just Classy Pool down on the inside, still trying to keep up. This was a much tougher group that she was in with here, and you'll notice she's beaten about 3 lengths or so in there. But this is a much tougher group. That was a non-winners of 2 allowance event for 3-year-olds and up fillies and mares. This is a non-winners of 2 claiming race for $5,000. Before that, she got off to great starts for trainer Isidro Hinojosa twice in a row and Ratama. I look for her to return to that form. So I like her over the 3 Malala Stoleys, who I think gets a much better distance today, and the 6 Stranglehold, who was a really, really nice winner from the 11 hole last time out. Okay, so I guess I took the lead role there, the first race, but you've
That's
got,
all right.
you like Stranglehold as
Yeah,
well.
I mean, everything you said about Jessa Classy Pool, that $5,000 tag on her tonight is really what makes this horse stand out to me. I mean, 2020 has been a good year for this horse. The first 2 starts, both the maiden races, ran a close-up third and then won that next race. So that win was at this 350-yard distance, too. Last time you talked about being up against some better horses in Allowance Company. I think right down here, 5,000 is going to be this race for Jessa Classy Pool. Stranglehold. I mean, this horse was a winner last time out. That came right here at Lone Star Park just a couple weeks ago. I mean, it was a win, a nice win in that one. It was at this 350-yard distance, won it by a length and a half. Put together a good effort to win that one. I think you're going to see Stranglehold up there toward the front of this one, no doubt about it. Then the number 3, Malia Stoles. Logical pick, too, here. Taking a little bit of a class drop as well. Trainer that wins or finishes in the money at a very high percentage. I think this is one that you can't overlook here either.
Yesterday you picked a horse, turned out to be a really good pick that beat my horse, and I wish I could remember the names of them. The names in this sport kind of run together, quite frankly. But I picked a horse that had broken very well in recent starts, going longer, and was dropping, and shortening up in distance, and I love that angle. Now, my horse got out well, my pick, who was the favorite, and led to about from here to the camera, and then your horse got up and won. But I still like that angle, and that applies for Malala Stoles. Has showed speed, going longer, now takes a drop, so I think she's going to be a factor as well. And they're already, so far she's the morning line has not moved. There's not enough money in the pools yet to move the odds off the morning line. So I'm going to be curious to see once the money starts in. Okay, the second race, the Arabian Wafpa Stallions Cup. 6 furlongs, 3 scratches now out of this one. The 3 RB Ginkit, 7 Royal Jolie, and the 12 Vaz's Dancing Hess.
Yeah, so that cuts down a little bit on this field here. Cuts it down by a quarter. But I'm on the number 4 in AA DeBuster. This is a horse that I want to say I probably picked twice out here so far this year. On top, hasn't done it for me yet. Last out, I mean, the horse ran the Texas Arabian Derby. That was a long race. That was a mile and a 16th. Horse finished second in that one. But if you look at the race before that, did pretty good. Finished third in that race. That was at this 6 furlong distance. I think that A.A. DeBuster with a couple races over the track here is going to give him a little bit of experience with our dirt, and hopefully will come in on top. I mean, if you look at how he's done at this 6 furlong distance, it's 4 starts, has 2 seconds and 2 thirds, so never finished off the board. But I'll take A.A. DeBuster here. Second choice is going to be your number 5 in WMA Northwind. This is another horse that's been out here on our track this year 3 times to be exact. Had a second at the 5.5 furlong distance. Ran the 6 a couple times. Last time was in that Texas Juvenile Stakes. Was well beaten in that one. I mean, never really did anything in that race. I'm going to kind of scratch a line through that one and focus on the race before it. And then my third pick, I'm going to go with the 2 On the Verge. This is a horse that's had some experience. Has run 12 times. Has never been able to pick up that win. This year has probably been the best year for the horse. Has a second and 2 thirds here in 2020. All those races came at Delaware Park. It's had 5 starts at the distance. Not much for it, a couple thirds. But I think it's probably at least the 3rd best horse out of this field.
Yeah, I went ahead and took him on top. I mean, this is a mixed bag as far as some of these maidens have been around, for a long time. Others haven't been out as often. But among the ones that have some experience, I'm going to take On the Verge on the shorten up from a mile back to a 1-turn race. Most of his races have been reasonably competitive. You mentioned he's been at Delaware. The racing is tough there for the Arabians. I think he's probably going to be a little too short a price for my liking for his chances of winning. But I'm going to take him over A.A. DeBuster, who gets that valuable turn back in distance as well and comes out of a grade 3 race. And I took the 6 Uptown Georgie, who has a lot of speed, and I think he could be very prominently placed toward the front end in this one. That's always helpful in these races. Let's move on to the 3rd. Quick one here, 250 yards. Texas bred claimers, 3 and up, $4,000 is the tag.
I'm on the 8, El Cartel. This was a winner last time out. I always love horses that win. That was at the $5,000 tag. He's going to be in for $4,000 tonight. The 2 races before that, right up there, almost won those 2 races as well. Second in both of them just by a nose. So something to be said for that. I mean, the last 3 races for this horse all coming since July. Horses up there toward the front. Seems to lead most of the way down the track. I think that this could be a good spot. 250 yards, I think El Cartel takes this race. Second choice, I'm going to go with the horse on the outside. That's the number 9, Corona Kid Cat. You got to take a look at those horses that Alonzo Neary sends out. And, I mean, you're getting one of our top jocks on this horse as well. The last couple races haven't been all too hot for this horse. That came at a longer distance. But take a look at the last time this horse ran at 250 yards. Missed it just by a nose that day. That was at Rotama Park. Look back at all the way back to Lone Star out here last year, 250 yards. That's when this horse was the last time that this horse won that race by a length and a quarter for 250 yards. That seems like quite a margin of victory right there. And then for my 3rd selection, I'm going to go with the number 5, Mr. On the Dash. Not really looking much at that last race. Was well beaten in that one. But the race before it, that was at the 10,000 non-winners of 2 level. Ran a solid race. I mean, that came out here at Lone Star Park at this distance. Finished 5th in that race, but was only a length behind. There's a little bumping going on at the start of that race. But I think Mr. On the Dash can get out clean tonight. This horse will hit the board for sure.
Mr. On the Dash, one thing about him, he gets back in against Texas breds. He had been facing open company of late, and if you go way down, year and a half ago to April of 19, he did break his maiden against Texas breds at Sam Houston Race Park. I think he'll go better in this bunch. Does tend to get bumped a lot at the start. That's not always that horse's fault. It might be somebody next to him that just runs into him, but he has definitely had start trouble. I went with the favorite in here, the 7, IB Hot and Famous 2. I just think that she exits a really, really nice try. Showed a lot of speed against non-winners of 2 field. The claiming price was higher, but it was non-winners of 2, and this race is open to everybody, but there's really only about 3 non-winners of 3 in the race, and everybody else is a non-winner of 2 in here. But and exits the best race, I think, against HB Birdman and Fayodale. I'm going to give her the look that way. She, again, is going to be kind of a short price. I took her over Mr. On the Dash and El Cartel. On to the 4th. Now, I haven't looked at your picks yet. I wrote that I thought the top 2 in here kind of stuck out. The 2 and the 9. Sometimes when I do that, I look up and you've picked somebody else. Nope, we're
on the same
one.
top choice.
Maiden Claiming Texas bred 2-year-olds.
Yeah, I think Just Kiss Me Goodbye, the one to beat here. I like this horse. I mean, that last race was all right. I mean, that was against Straight Maidens. Is in here for the tag tonight for $10,000. Race before that was in a futurity trial at Retama Park. Ran decent in both of them. Got a 3rd and a 4th. Last time out, like I said, this horse ran 4th. The horse that finished 3rd was a next out winner. I'm going to go ahead and put my money on Just Kiss Me Goodbye. I'll take a little bit of a shot as my second choice. That's the number 4, Mighty 2 Fame. 2 starts back is the one that I'm looking at here. I like that race. I mean, horse finished 4th in that one. Just finished behind by 3/4 of a length. Just wasn't able to get it done. Had led it most of the way down the racetrack. That was a race at Retama Park. That was 330 yards. We're running 300 in this one. I mean, the last time this horse ran 300 was back in May at Remington Park. Did okay up there as well. Finished 4th, just behind by a length. Not too bad at all. I think Mighty 2 Fame can have a shot here in this one. You were talking about the 9, toss-up between the 2 and a 9. I'm going to tell you, I really didn't care too much for the 9 in this one. It's probably going to come back and get me as the race runs. But I don't know. I mean, I think this horse is definitely in the top 3. But I'm just not too confident about the horse. I mean, I know last time it was a solid race. But you know what? This horse is stepping up in price now in this claiming price. Didn't win that one. Did put in a good effort. Ran against some other good, decent horses there. But I don't know. I don't think that he takes the win. But I'll have him up there to play in those exotic tickets like the tries.
I really like the 2 as well. He certainly draws a lot better. Last time he had the 10 hole, and like we say every day, you can win from out there. We see it all the time. It's just not the best place to be necessarily. I wouldn't, if you could pick your post positions like sometimes they do for big races, I don't know how many horsemen would be running out to the 10 hole or wider. But nonetheless, he draws in the 2 hole here. He never really got involved in that race at 17-1 last time in a much better spot. As far as Mr. Alluring Menace, I'm not crazy about him either. One thing the morning line is done very expertly here by Rick Lee, and I'm quite confident this horse is going to be very near his morning line. But if we didn't see this horse at 9-5 on the line, we might not think as much of him. Sometimes I think the morning line colors our perceptions a little bit. If he was 5-1 or 6-1 on the line, we probably wouldn't use him in the picks at all. But the thing about him is they threw the kitchen sink at him equipment-wise last time. They put blinkers back on him. They added a flipping halter, and they put him in front wraps. And he did run a better race behind Zumalot, but it was over a month ago, and he was still beaten 3 parts of a length. It was a good effort. He's going to have to do, probably a little better today. And then I took Mighty to Fame also as a 3rd pick. One that I'm kind of curious about here is this Justin Powell trainee, One Sweet Goodbye, the 6th. That's my 4th pick. Claimed by Powell last time. He has a high percentage. I like to see that. I like to see him claim somebody and maybe step him up a little, see how good he is. On to the 5th. Scratch here. And I think this long shot that scratched, the 8 You Buy I Fly V, had a shot in here. He's won 2 straight 870s. He's really loved the stretch out. This is a tough field. He's out. Very good race at 870. I think there's going to be a heavy favorite. I think SLP Mighty High is going to be favored from the inside. And he's very logical, but I'm picking against him.
It's kind of funny you were talking about the 8th, the scratch out of this one. I had the horse pick 2nd before the scratch.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought
I had him 3rd.
Was going to run pretty big here. But SLP Mighty High, that's the one I'm taking here. It's going to be your logical favorite, it looks like. This horse has won 2 out of 3. Both those races coming at 870 yards. I mean, this horse is starting to be a little bit of a specialist at this distance, I would say. Having run it 4 times, 3 of those being victories. This horse has won 4 out of 10 out here on our track. 2 for 4 this year. SLP Mighty High, I think, drawing the inside post in these 870-yard races. That's where I'd want to be. It's the shortest way around that curve. I think there's a lot to like about this horse, and I'm going to go ahead and pick it on top. Second choice, I'm going to go with the 7 horse in KW Cowboy. This horse has been up, toward the front in a whole bunch of races. I mean, all of them this calendar year. Most of them, this horse has run at the 870-yard distance. Only has 1 win at this distance. That comes pretty far back. But, the horse has had some experience out here at Lone Star Park. Definitely some experience overall. I mean, this horse has run 51 times in his lifetime, this 8-year-old. So he definitely has the experience. And like I said, he seems to finish up close to the lead more often than not. So I'm going to go ahead and take KW Cowboy as my second choice. And then I'll go with the 3 in Amsterdam's Big Daddy as my third choice. This horse has won a lot of money. Look back, this horse has run in a ton of stakes races, has competed well in those stakes races. But the knock is they came a long time ago, or fairly long ago. Yeah. I mean, this horse hasn't been on the track in a race since December of last year. Has some workouts since then, but I mean nothing that really stands off the page to me. But just for all that past stakes races this horse has been in and been able to compete in them, I'm going to go ahead and take the 3 as my third pick.
Yeah, I think he's kind of an X factor in here. If he's really ready and ready to go and is able to fire fresh, he probably wins the race. But I'm not picking it that way either. I've got him third. I'm taking a shot here with the 6 Showtime. This is an uncharacteristic pick for me. I mean, the traditional pick for me, if there was a book on me, would be SLP Mighty High. I love to have a lot of factors in my favor. That's why I tend to pick favorites in some cases. But this horse, SLP Mighty High, good at the distance, gets the rail, gets a good rider who started in thoroughbreds. I like to see that in these 870s. Good win over the track. But the one thing that I like about Showtime, who's my top pick, we don't quite know yet what the ceiling for this horse is, and these 870s are usually late developers. He has stretched out. He did stretch out nicely and won in his 870 debut here on opening night. His trainer is 30% with 870 horses, and he's a half-brother to Stoley's Pro, who just a couple of years ago was as good a distance horse as there probably was in the country. He never won any awards. But Showtime, quality breeding, good family to go long. I'm going to give him a shot here to get a good trip from off the pace. There's a ton of early speed in here, so I took it 6-1-3-5. Contentious Strike last time was 3-2, had the lead in the stretch and just stopped on a dime, and that's part of the reason SLP Mighty High was able to get up, was there were some real stoppers in front of him. That's not to say he didn't run a good race, because he did. On to the 6th. I'm blabbing a lot, so I've got to pick up the pace. We're getting to the halfway mark on the card. Starts the 6-shooter. $6,404 in the carryover. Another tough 5,000 claimer.
Yeah, I thought this race was pretty tough. I'm taking them in order. 8, 9, 10 is how I got this 6th race. Doc Pepper, I think, wins this race. The 550, this horse has had 2 starts at the 550 distance. Last time out, it was at the $10,000 level. Non-winners of 3. Horse ran 4th in that one, but wasn't that bad out of it. 3/4 of a length is all the horse was beaten. If you look back to earlier in this meet at Lone Star on our opening night, this horse did pull out a win. That was at the classic quarter-mile distance, so going to add another 110 yards on from that one. But I think Doc Pepper can get it done. Second choice is going to be Dak Attack. Winner last time out, that came at this 550-yard distance. The horse has run 550 5 times, has 2 wins and 2 seconds. So a pretty good record at the distance for Dak Attack. I'll go ahead and take the horse second. And then I'll take the number 10 as my third choice, Black Goal. This horse has had a win at the 550-yard distance. I always think that's important when they're running that full length of the straightaway. Last time the horse was well beaten in that race. I mean, it got beat by 3 3/4. Just didn't have what it took that day. But maybe this one, the horse is going to be back a few weeks later and be a little bit more fresh and ready to go. So I'm going to go ahead and take the 3 as my third selection here. Or the 10, excuse me.
Right. Yeah, he showed really high speed last time before stopping, but he may hold on a little better today. I'm just tired of Doc Pepper. I mean, I got excited about him after that first win. I was really anxious to see him on October 3rd. I was less excited to see him October 11th, although he still ran well, so I didn't pick him here. I went with the 9 Dak Attack, who was a really nice winner here a couple of weeks ago at 17-1. He didn't run in as good a race as Doc Pepper. Doc Pepper was in a non-winners of 3. Dak Attack was in a non-winners of 2. Logic would indicate the non-winner of 3, even though he didn't win the race, might be in better shape. But I went with Dak Attack over Dustingham. I took a little bit of it's not a shot, but I mean, I'm taking a horse that's a little uncharacteristic for me coming off a layoff. Dustingham for a high percentage trainer. First time that this horse has started for Joel Valeriano Jr. Some of his past form, I think, could win this race. And then Doc Pepper third and Black Gold fourth. On to the fourth. On to the seventh. On to the fourth would be an interesting maneuver after we're 6 races deep. On to the seventh. Maiden special weight 2-year-olds going 300 yards.
Yeah, I've got the 7 Jess for the Candy as my top choice here. 3 races for this horse. All of them coming out in New Mexico at Ruidoso Downs. And all those pretty big futurity trials out there. So the horse is running against some good horses looking to run for big, big money. I think a move over here to Texas in this maiden race could be a good spot for Jess the Candy. I was going to try this 300-yard distance. I think at this shorter distance, might do this horse well. I mean, at the 400, 440, never could really get the job done, but maybe shorten it up. We'll see this horse cross that finish line first. Second choice is going to be the number 6 in Denzel. This horse has only had 1 start, ran 4th in that race by a length and a quarter. That was at this 300-yard distance. That came back in August at Ruidoso. Has had a workout since. Pretty decent work, 4 of 38 that morning at Evangeline Downs. I'm going to go ahead and take this horse second. And then my third selection, I'm going with the number 10 horse and Surprise Cartel. Had a solid third last time out. 2 races for this horse around this same distance. I mean, the 300 yards is where this horse debuted. Wasn't the best debut. A 5th in that one. Didn't really, do much in that race. But an improvement from that first race to the second race. And we'll see if Surprise Cartel can improve a little bit more and have a good showing here in race number 7.
I'm with the 7 as well. Just for the Candy is a grandson of Send Me the Candy, who I had the honor of calling in the 96 Remington Park Futurity, if you can believe that. There's a lot of those Candy horses that came from the PV House family, and Just for the Candy is part of that line. This horse was in all the big trials at Ruidoso for the Rainbow, the All-American, and the Ruidoso Futurity. Reasonably competitive in those. I think he stands out. My second pick is the 4, Jess Over Yonder. His grandmother, Quick Moonsign, won the 97 Remington Futurity during my tenure there. And G.R. Carter rode Quick Moonsign quite a bit. I think Heath Taylor is having a good meet and has good stock, and Just Over Yonder comes from Delta, and you really have to watch those Delta horses. They've really been firing well. And my third pick is Surprise Cartel on the outside as well, by a whisker over Denzel. 8th race. We've got video here. Scratch the 6, Miss Julie 5 bar. We have different top picks here. I'm going with the 9 Firewall. Let's slide over and watch number 9 in this race. 1 from the outside. That's Firewall. Now, watch how this horse rallies. He's going to come up a nose short. He's 1 from the outside, and this horse on September 20th, this is a non-winners of 4 allowance. He just comes absolutely flying at a horse named Portfolio toward the inside. Portfolio wins. Firewall was dynamite in that race. And I think, I don't necessarily love this shorter distance, but this horse fires hard every time. So I'm taking him over Laser Cut and Canelo Alvarez. And I see you're going with a horse I used 4th, Tipsy Girl B.
Yeah, Tipsy Girl B. I got this horse beating Firewall. I like the stakes that Tipsy Girl B has run in. I mean, Prairie Meadows, the last 2, was in the Altoona Derby. Was well beaten in that one, but still was able to qualify and run in that race. Before that, 3 races at Canterbury. 2 of those were stakes races, a 2nd and a 3rd. I mean, not missing by much in either one of those. I'm going to go ahead and guess that the 10 gets up and beats Firewall. Only thing about Fireball, while I got this horse second, look at the last 4 races, second in all 4 of those races, but real close. I mean, we're talking noses and necks in those races. So Fireball, maybe gets the head down at the right time, could win this race, but I'm going to go ahead with the 10, and then I'll take the 3, Canelo Alvarez, as my third selection. I think the 9 and 10 kind of stand out, but Canelo Alvarez, I mean, I think you're going to get some decent odds on this horse, and it's kind of an X factor here. Run pretty good in that allowance race last time, missed by a length. The TQHA Sire Derby before that, I picked a ton of horses this year out of that one that have fared pretty well. And, I mean, even before that, Canelo Alvarez had some pretty decent races. So I'll go ahead and take that horse third.
There's a lot of contention in here. You look at a horse like Z James on the outside, 271,000 plus in career earnings, graded stakes winner. Hasn't been performing very well this meet, but has been in really tough races. And there's others in here. Filthy Rich making his Lone Star debut, comes out of a win at Albuquerque and Claiming Company back in August. There's a bunch in here that merit consideration, but I agree. I think the top 2 kind of stand out, even though I didn't use Tipsy Girl B any higher than 4th, but there's a lot of and don't overlook Laser Cut either. In
that's
my
the
opinion,
one I was kind of debating between was Laser Cut. I was throwing that one in there.
I have Laser Cut second. Had a lot of trouble last 2 starts. If he gets away clearly, he could be tough here. Okay, on to the 9th. Starter optional claimer. You have started for $5,000 or less in the last 2 years, or you could be in for $10,000. And this is a 110-yard race. And in my suggested pick 4 for TVG tonight, I think I used 8 horses in here.
I can't go that deep in this one, but I think the 5 and the 4 is how I got them 1-2. These horses ran against each other last time out, and that's how they finished. TFA Special Runaway was the winner of that race. Zumador second. I went back and watched that race. I think I like the way it played out here. I think TF a Special Runaway, getting out of the gate, just shot out like a rocket. Zumador right behind pretty much the whole way. So I'm taking it 5-4, and then I'll take the 3 as my third selection here. That's KC I'ma Keep Running. This horse has been off since February. Had a couple races at Louisiana Downs this year. Was in for the 10,000 non-winners of 3 last time out. Won that race by a nose. That was at 220 yards. But hey, this is one of the shortest races we've run this season. It's going to be one of the fastest, no doubt, at 110 yards. I just think that TF a Special Runaway, if he shoots out of that gate like last time, I think she picks up the win here.
Well, she's a very consistent fast breaker. That's the main thing I look for in these 110s. That and an affinity for it, and she is 1 for 1 in 110-yard races. You really just have to get a break and fire. And, I haven't seen that many of these races. We run a handful a year, but it seems like it's better to be somewhere in the middle of the gate on these. I don't recall too many outside horses winning these. That could just be a coincidence, but nonetheless, I like her over Zumador. My third pick is going to be the 9 J.K. Hard Over Mine, just because she comes out of a really quick breaking effort last time. I like KC I'ma Keep Running as well, just because it doesn't look like they can run a race that's too short for her. And so that's going to be an interesting race. I do suggest a spread, though, in the multi-race wagers. It's interesting that Jabber Jibber is in that race, the 11. I remember that maiden win because that was, I think, opening night or opening weekend of the meet 2 years ago, and they were in ankle-high slop that night, and I remember that because you remember a name like Jabber Jibber anyway. Toby Keaton had her then. She's been off ever since. So I couldn't, use her up in the picks, but 10th race. Scratch the 10, Shakia Secret Prize. 10th, another super wide open grab bag here at 400 yards.
Yeah, SS Classy Jess, I got to pick this horse. This horse has won 4 stakes in a row. Very solid horse. Most recently ran the Yellow Rose out here, won that one. Won the Neville out here earlier this year, so has already racked up quite a bit of purse money in this season at Lone Star Park. I think this horse at 400 yards is a specialist. Has won 3 of 4 at this 400-yard distance. I really like SS Classy Jess. I'll take the 2 Cat Daddy's Little Girl as my second choice. This horse has ran in some decent stakes races as well. Won some. I mean, this horse has already won $313,000 in her lifetime. Last time out, it was an allowance race out here at Lone Star Park. If you look at the horse that ran third in that one, Lindare 16, that horse went on to win the Bank of America night over at the Downs at Albuquerque. So definitely a solid horse there. Cat Daddy's little girl beat Lindare 16 by half a length. So I definitely think that you got to look at that last race as a key race, considering what Lindare 16 did afterwards. And then I took the number 9 in Kiva as my third selection. I mean, this horse ran in some big races at Ruidoso this year. The Rainbow Oaks, the All-American Oaks was the most recent one. Just missed in that one, got a third place in that one. That was at 400, so we're going to drop a little bit of distance off. The horse doesn't have a 400-yard win, but out of 3 tries does have a second and a third. So I think that the 9 Kiva is definitely one to take a look at here in this 10th race.
You know, I misspoke when I said wide open. It really isn't. I mean, in actuality, I misread my notes. I scribble little notes to remind myself of some of the topics. My note was to point out what a good field it is, not necessarily that it's wide open, because SS Classic Jess is going to be a solid favorite. Cat Daddy's Little Girl's a super, super quality mare. I like it the same way you do as far as 5-2. I went taking the stage as a third pick over Kieva, who's also very talented. SS Classy Jess, I'm just going to keep picking her until she loses, and I'll probably still keep picking her then. I mean, she's not going to probably win every race the rest of her career, but you just can't get off her bandwagon at this point based on how much she loves this track and how well she's run. Cat Daddy's Little Girl has been favored in 7 straight races, including that last really, really salty allowance race against male rivals that included Linder 16 and Just You Are Blue, who won that race. And she ran really admirably from the 11 hole that day. Gets a better post today. Taking the stage, $168,000 in earnings. Really nice record. It doesn't look like 400's maybe her best distance, but she closed a lot of ground on this strip last time out. And Kieva, I mean, there's nothing to not like about her. She is a 3-year-old taking on older, but lots of good mares in that race. So I didn't mean to say it was wide open. It really isn't in the classic sense, but my note was to indicate what a field. On to the 11th. Maiden Claimers, 10,000 the tag, 250 yards the distance.
Yeah, I took the horse on the far outside, the 12, Chicks Want Hayes. I think this filly right here, this is going to be her second start lifetime, or second start since March. So it's had some time off. That race in March at Remington Park was a decent race. I mean, finished second in that one by half a length. Was the favorite in that race, but got beaten. That was in a futurity trial. So it's going to come here to this maiden claiming race. So $10,000 is the tag for this horse for the first time. Is going to be in for that claiming price. So I don't know. I just think there's something about this horse coming back to the track to try a race here in October from being off since March. I think Chicks Want Hayes might be ready to go. Second choice, I'll go with the number 6 horse in Tolan. A third last time by 3/4, a second before that. Both of those coming at 250 yards. This horse has run nothing but 250 yards in his career. So it kind of fits the bill right here. So we'll see what happens with the 6. I got to pick second. And then I'll take the 9 horse, KJH My Diamond, as my third selection here. A little bit of a price, 10-1 on the morning line. This horse finished 4th last time out. I'm always looking for that improvement between race 1 and race 2. That first race did come right out here on our track. So hey, from the first race to the second one is just going to practice on this dirt once again. And, hey, the 11th race, the last race of the night, always seems that there's some long shots that come in somewhere in that order. This is where I'm taking the 9.
You know, I'm going with the 11 Box of Crickets. Like the name. Also like the fact that I didn't know this when I handicapped, but on October 27th, maybe I did know this now that I think about it. October 27th here at Lone Star, Box of Crickets worked 220 on a wet, fast track in 11.44 seconds, breezing, which was the only work that day at that distance, so it's not technically a bullet work. You have to have multiple works for that, but it was pretty fast work. Don't love the 2-month layoff for this horse, but Box of Crickets has consistently been bet in his races, 9-2 each of his last 2 starts, reasonably competitive. Just going to give him a look from the outside here for a high percentage, if low volume trainer in Salvador Soto. Doesn't start a lot of horses, but definitely is good with them. I took a box of Crickets over the 6 Tolan. And then my third pick is the 7. I'm Not Hot, I'm Spicy. This filly has just been a magnet for trouble in some of her races. Hasn't been out in a couple of months. Comes from a barn. Trainer Dean Fry has one of the best older horses going named Danger. So I'm going to go ahead and take I'm Not Hot, I'm Spicy. Chick Swan Hayes, respect for her, but that's a really long layoff. And the trainer, Delbert McDowell, don't know him. I don't believe he's started a horse. I couldn't find his stats on Equibase. Not that he can't come out and win with his first starter, if in fact it is. But, that's a really long layoff for, a situation with a trainer that might have been someone's assistant for a long time now out on his own. You never know. So I went ahead and picked against her. But you and Rick both have her, so that always worries me because I feel like I'm missing something when you and Rick are both on a horse and I'm not. All right. I think that'll wrap it up. Good luck with your selections tonight. We differ on quite a few top picks, which makes for a good contrast in the picks, gives people some options.
That's right. It's always nice to give people some options out there, especially some options where they can win lots of big money, just like out here tonight. So,
no doubt about it. 11 opportunities tonight. Thanks for looking in, and good luck.